we all have made mistakes. There are things in our past we're not so proud of.
You are the Ask Nick expert on TikTok, on Instagram, on the Viall Files, and now on Katie's season of The Bachelorette. How are you feeling after your return to group date hosting?
I feel good. It's always fun to see old friends. The producers, it's a whole team of people on that show that I haven't seen in a while, and that was good to see. And it was certainly fun to be useful to them. And I appreciate the producers, collaborating with me. When they reached out and asked me to host the date. They asked me if I had any ideas, and they wanted to, play to my strengths and the things that I've been doing, obviously on the podcast. And so I really appreciated that. And we kind of came up with this idea, and it's a combination of, listen, I mean, obviously they're in quarantine, they're stuck in New Mexico. And so they're limited with their options. And, personally, I'd rather be a part of a date where, I was hoping it would add some value rather than just showing up and be like, hey guys, here's an obstacle course, right. And having me just stand there with a stopwatch. And, it's a little different. Personally, I think they should do more of this type of stuff. The idea was, it was like, hey, and I kind of said to the guys when I kind of gave my whole, speech was, we know that you're going to want to talk to Katie about your strengths, your fears, your past relationships. I'm certain that if you have a sad story, you will want to tell Katie. I'm sure you'll want to tell Erika. But that's just such a small part of getting to know someone. And, we all have made mistakes. There are things in our past we're not so proud of. And it's not necessarily these horrific things. It's, maybe it's just like, hey, this one time, I dated this person and I was just really inconsiderate of their time. I always showed up late. I was like, maybe it's something like that. And it was really just based off the idea of, can these guys be honest about who they are and show self-awareness and self-reflection, show that they can say, hey, of course I haven't been my best self, but also let me tell you what I mean by that, because then I shows my ability to recognize. And so that was really cool for the producers to, collaborate with me, and it's been fun. And obviously I do a lot of that on my podcast with my Ask Nick episodes. And I appreciate people listening to things I have to say. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
The two things I thought of when this date was airing was, one, Nick was definitely involved in the conception of this date and why it happened. And two was, this felt like trying to give them a chance to maybe expose themselves before their ex or whoever decides to try to expose them themselves. Is that fair?
100%. Yeah. Again, it's a collaborative effort. So we discussed it together, and we definitely worked together on the creative. It certainly wasn't just me. And yeah, when I talked to the guys, I definitely, you could say, scared them a little bit, in the sense of I do get DMs every season from exes.
And
I ignore them, because it's mostly nonsense, right? But the point is, the stuff always comes out, right? And what a better feeling to have Katie hear it from you. It's so much better to say, hey, I'm just gonna own who I am. I mean, I still stand by Jed on Hannah Brown's season. Storyline could have gone so much differently had he simply showed up and got caught off guard. I genuinely believe that Jed really fell for Hannah Brown.
Yeah, I do.
But at the moment when he fell for her, he decided to lie to himself and lie to producers and lie to Hannah, as opposed to just, maybe pulling a producer inside and there's
gonna be this girl.
I don't know what to do. And Hannah really liked Jed, so they would have tried to help him out, right? And that storyline could have gone so much different had Jed just owned who he was. And sorry, Jeff's getting into a little bit of trouble. And so it was just setting that example with the guys. And I just kept stressing, like, and I was never gonna like say anything, you know, I was never gonna out them, but I just said, Katie needs to hear it from you, not me, not anyone else. You know, be the man you say you guys are, and just own whatever it is, because and it played out the way, you know, I hoped, is that these guys had some real fears. I mean, Connor B was the whole time, you could tell, it's just like, I mean, he was to my right, he was crying the whole time in that blouse that he was wearing, and that
was rough. The blouse was rough.
I was like, oh man, he definitely he came back strong at the night portion with the all black, and he really made up for it. And he's a sweet guy, but you know, there's some real fears with honesty, but it's just such a strong lesson that if you just people just want to know that you'll be honest with them. No one's ever asking or expecting perfect, and we always make the mistake of sugarcoating things. And when you're just like, hey, by the way, like I definitely sucked in this moment, and this is what I learned. People are so, they're not only attracted to that, they're just so refreshed by that. It really is a freeing thing, and so it was good that the guys really embraced that, and they definitely stepped up. You know, Thomas not so much, but
we'll get to that.
Yeah, they did a good job, and yeah, it was fun to be a part of, and you know, I appreciate my audience giving me an opportunity to share the things that I've learned in the past. It's always kind of funny, like, you know, especially on my podcast, I'm very clear to say that I'm not a therapist. I'm just your friend. I mean, I feel lucky that I've learned a lot through my experiences on the podcast, having a lot of therapists, having professors from Harvard, and I feel fortunate to have those people reach out to me and let me know that they think I'm doing a good job and they stand by the stuff I say. But at the same time, I'm just someone's friend. You know, I'm just here to learn through my own faults, and there's no advice that I've ever given that hasn't been something I've learned on my own through my own mistakes and my own you know, life experiences.